Hello, my name is Robert Hayden. I was the rank of E5, second class petty officer. I ended up going to Idaho because out in Idaho the Navy had the Nautilus prototype out in Idaho Falls, and they had the Enterprise prototype that were built back in the 60s, and they had with a submarine they called the Narwhal prototype that was also built out there. And they were real live reactors. They were not simulators, and they built them out in Idaho. And they told us flat out, they're in Idaho because it's a big flat lava bed. If these things burn down, they're going to melt into a pile of lava rocks. They're not going to, nothing's going to go, and nobody lives out here. It's desert. You can't even farm out here. No, and I'm serious. If you ever drive out there, there's nothing but black rocks every place. There's no grass. There's no nothing. It's not even brown dirt. It's just black lava rocks. And we're also told you cannot drive out there. You have to take a bus. From Idaho Falls, it's a 1-hour bus trip to get out to the site for security purposes and also in case something happens. We want to contain if something happens. I'm like, okay, this is getting really, really serious. This is no more playing Nintendo. We're not playing games here. We're playing with the real deal. Get out there and meet the instructors and meet everybody. And again, it's more book work, but every prototype was a little bit different because again, there were prototypes, experimental things the Navy was trying out to see what worked, what didn't work. And they were all going to be different from whatever ships we ended up on. These were like the first cuts. I ended up in the Narwhal prototype. My two roommates ended up at the Nautilus prototype, which was built back in the 50s. It was Rico. All three of them were built under his jurisdiction. So that went pretty well. I learned everything in the system. I personally did not have any problems there. One of the guys, now this was also told to everybody back in Florida, that now listen, all you guys passed all the book work. Now we have to see where the rubber hits the road. We have to see if you guys can actually take all that book work and apply it to the machines and the electronics. So there were 4 different groups of us. I was a mechanic. I worked on the machines. There were electricians that worked on motors and stuff. INC guys that worked on the electronics and the computer systems and stuff like that. So everybody had a different hands-on, almost like a tech school kind of approach that how to fix, to work on these things. But all of us were also trained. All of us were trained to be reactor operators. To operate the reactor, we already had the book smarts on what to expect when you do certain things to a reactor, and and how to know when something's not. If you turn a switch and you look into your indicators, you were taught how to understand what's going on. Even if it looks goofy to you, it might be A, the equipment could have failed, or B, something out of the normal, something outside of what the engineers thought would happen is happening. So be prepared for that. They told us to think outside of the box. Here's the procedures, follow the procedures, but if something really goofy happens, don't be afraid, but at the same time, make sure you think right before you make that step to the right or step to the left outside of the box. Stay inside the box, but if you have to go outside to get around the problem, don't be afraid. Like, okay, stay inside the box, but don't be afraid to go outside. But if you do go outside the box, make sure you got a darn good reason to do it. So, okay, well, I never did that. Well, only once, but that was later. So, got through Idaho, class training, and passed my oral boards, and they had written tests and they had live action tests, like, not like what we're doing now, but they would have a classroom about this size and a big whiteboard, a chalkboard. And they would say, for example, one of the tests was, I'm a molecule of water floating in the ocean. Get me inside the reactor. And you would literally draw the entire process and draw out all the machines, all the pumps, and everything you had to do, and all the pressures and all the temperatures, everything you had to do to get inside the reactor. So that the teachers understood that you actually knew what the hell you were talking about by mapping all this stuff out on this big ass chalkboard. That was one of the final tests, to prove that you understood exactly what you were doing and how to get there. And you could handle it. And they also had some other test questions that were, what they call casualty, like if this pump breaks, then what do you do? But they didn't really harp on that too much, because they also knew that every ship would be slightly different. And the answers to those questions were only pertinent to that prototype. That would not work, the answer to that question would not work on the prototype across the street, because they had different pumps and different systems, that kind of jazz.